Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. A very warm greeting to each and every one of you. I am Charlene O. SENIEDO, and it is my great honor to be the MC for today's webinar. I would like to extend a very warm welcome to everyone watching us online for your presence and time. I welcome you all to our webinar on the globalization and internalization, focusing on the skills development and needs of disadvantaged children and youth in rapidly evolving societies. And this webinar objective is to exchange suggestions and solutions for improving student skills through the differing subtopics to be presented by today's speaker. But before that, let us see our webinar's agenda today. So here's the agenda. Moving on, let us now present the speakers. First is Ms. SHAHANE CASTAñares for digital skills. And next would be Ms. Audrey Ann VILLAFLOR for social and emotional skills. Next is Ms. FEBE TULOD for entrepreneurial and work-life skills. And lastly, Ms. Precious and TABAY for the summary. Without further ado, let us now start our webinar to the guidance of our moderator, Ms. NAOMI IBAñEZ.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is NAOMI IBAñEZ, and I will be moderating this one session on the globalization and internalization of education, focusing on the issue of the skills development and needs of disadvantaged children and youth in rapidly evolving societies. The presenters are Ms. SHAHANE CASTAñares, Ms. Audrey Ann VILLAFLOR, Ms. FEBE TULOD, and lastly, Ms. Precious Ann TABAY. Before we begin, I'd want to make a few housekeeping remarks. Today's session is being recorded to be available for viewing post-conference. If you have any questions for the presenters, please jot them down in your notes, then submit them by the Google form we will provide. Any queries you have will be answered in the Google form that we will fill out. At the same time, responses to your queries and electronic versions of your certificates will be sent to the emails you provided. Today, each presenter will have a total of 3 minutes to deliver their presentation. Now, let's begin. Please welcome Ms. SHAHANE CASTAñares as our first speaker.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am SHAHANE CASTAñares, and now let us talk about digital skills. Digital skills and digital literacy are terms you may have heard thrown around a lot lately. But what do they mean? How can we get digital skills, and how will that help us in life, especially for students with additional needs and with students with very low digital literacy? Digital literacy mainly emphasizes the why, when, and whom, and for whom, which delves deeper and inquires more, like why use these tools, when to use it, or for who is it used. Meanwhile, digital skills distinctly mean what tools to utilize and how to manipulate these tools. Possessing digital skills is so important in today's world. Having digital skills is essential for both for your personal life and in the workplace. Digital skills are also defined as the ability to find, evaluate, use, share, and create content using digital devices such as computers and smartphones. Next, some of the best resources to make use of for increasing your digital skills are websites with free online courses that teach you, especially if they have interactive tools to help you learn. Make an effort to use tech for your job, for a hobby, or for showcasing your work online. Here are some applications, websites, and technology that can help children with special needs. First, we have here the speech blocks. It is an application that students with additional needs may utilize. This application is a speech therapy application created in cooperation with speech and language pathologists that uses voice-controlled and video technology to develop speech articulation for young children with or without speech difficulties. Another application they can use is the Google Classroom. We all use this app, and I think this is the most common. One of the biggest benefits of Google Classroom is it's simple to use and encourages collaboration between students and teachers. Teachers can create a class and list educational apps such as assignments in a few clicks. With so many digital applications out there, finding educational apps of high quality seem like a daunting task, particularly when you take into account the fact that there are over 520,000 educational apps. You should make use of it with the help of research and willingness to learn. Next, enhancing children's digital skills can be as simple as integrating some basic skills into their daily routine. They may also start out with something simple like creating a new social media profile, then working their way up to something like getting all of their notes, tasks, and important documents and information organized in one place with the use of technology. There are so many ways to practice digital skills, and all they need to have is regular orientation and training. To summarize all of the things I discussed, the pandemic has drawn our attention to a very serious gap in the digital realm and the great need to have the skills that will fill the gap. It is important to know that having these skills is good, implementing them is better. But more importantly, constantly improving on these skills is the most wonderful decision you can make. This ensures that your value as a digital literate doesn't deteriorate with time. The digital world will always spin to something new, and you need to spin alongside it. Thank you very much for listening, and I hope you learned something from this discussion.
Again, thank you very much for your amazing presentation. If you have any questions for Ms. Castañares or any of our presenters, please jot them down in your notes and then fill out the Google form we will provide. Let's now welcome our second speaker, Ms. Audrey Ann Villaflor.
Good afternoon, everyone. Let us start with the next slide, please. So, what are social and emotional skills? Now, social and emotional skills are the skills needed to control your thoughts, emotions, and behavior. Now, according to the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, they made the Big Five model, which illustrates the 5 main skills a person should have to be considered emotionally and socially developed. Now, these 5 skills is 1, openness to experience, or how open-minded you are to ideas. Next is conscientiousness, how you are good in performing your tasks for yourself and for other people. Next is your emotional stability, which is how good you are in regulating your emotions and how good you are in not letting your emotions control you. Next is your extroversion, which is how well you engage with others. And next is your agreeableness, which is a skill in how you collaborate well with your peers. Now, let us now go to the next slide and see why is it important to have social and emotional skills. A main reason of that is because of our evolving societies. Thanks to our technological progress and our globalization, the world has now become smaller and we are now more connected. Because of that, there is a need for us to have the skills to interact with new ideas, ways of working to people, culture, concepts. Now, what would happen, next slide please, if you have a poorly developed social and emotional skills from an individual? Now, we can answer that through a case study back in 2012. So, back in 2012, the General Education Development, or the GED, allowed high school dropouts in the United States to earn a high school diploma by passing the GED test. However, the dropout students and the regular high school students had different performance. Let us now go to the next slide. So, the difference between the comparison to regular high school graduates and high school dropouts with GED graduates is that the GED graduates that are dropouts have a significantly lower rates of college graduation, a higher likelihood of being in prison, higher rates of divorce, worse health, and others. And the most interesting part is that basically their cognitive skills are more or less the same, which shows that while knowledge is good, character is important. And so let us now beg the question in how, next slide please. Let's now go to the next question in how and what can be done to help the disadvantaged children and youth develop their social and emotional skills.
A good way to develop that is through effective programs. Let us now go to the next slide, please. So what kind of programs? Well, we can go for school programs and out-of-school programs. Both of these programs focus on two things, which is interventions with competence enhancement focus, and second is interventions aimed at reducing problem behaviors. Examples of these are school clubbing, in where children are given the chance to socialize and emotional develop through social activities and shared interests. Another is through education, in where, for example, a drug education program in where children are taught about these type of drugs and how not to abuse it or even use it. Now, let's now go to the next slide in how effective this kind of programs are. So, school-based programs share a set of characteristics that are linked to their effectiveness. One of them is a focus on teaching cognitive, effective behavioral skills and competencies, user-empowering approaches and competence enhancement, and of course, use of interactive teaching methods such as role-play, games, and collaborative group work. Now, let us go to the next slide on the out-of-school based programs that share their effectiveness. One of these is having a specific and well-defined goals, direct and explicit focus on desired outcomes, provision of structured activities, and so on. Now, as a reminder, a well-functional society is increasingly being defined by its citizens' capacity for adaptability, resourcefulness, respect for others, and ability to get along with others. So if you do not have the emotional and social ability, you may as well be seen by the society as someone who is not a well-adjusted person. So we have to develop and improve our social and emotional skills, because from what I have said, knowledge is good, but character is important. That is all I have to say. Please take the floor, Noreen.
Thank you for providing such an insightful lecture, Ms. Audrey. Now, let us welcome our third speaker, Ms. FEBE TULOD.
Hello everyone, good afternoon. My name is FEBE TULOD, and it's a privilege for me to be one of the speakers for today. Please lend me your ears to learn more about this topic as I now talk about entrepreneurial and work-life skills. What is entrepreneurial and work-life skills? The working world requires initiative, self-direction, and an entrepreneurial mindset. The basic education and secondary education curricula place a strong emphasis on employability skills, entrepreneurship, and active citizenship when it comes to transversal competencies. A learner's courage to take on new challenges is increased by entrepreneur pedagogy, which also enhances a learner's creativity, responsibility, initiative, and decision-making. Moving on to the next slide. What is the relationship between entrepreneurship and education? Well, our educational system has played an important role in preparing them for successful lives. When they graduate from high school, college, they ought to be prepared for the wide range of opportunities that lie ahead of them, including jobs with other people, business enterprises of their own, volunteer work. These possibilities offer a breadth of knowledge in their chosen field, as well as innovative problem-solving capabilities, leadership qualities, experience working in effective teams, and adaptability in a constantly changing environment. Moving on to the next. Can entrepreneurship be taught? Well, all levels of educators can help students become involved in their immediate environment and imagine how it might be different. They can also test out creative and can develop their ability to reframe issues in order to generate novel ideas. And finally, they can work resolutely to scale their ideas by motivating others to support their efforts. And of course, in addition to your knowledge, there are 5 benefits of schools teaching entrepreneurship. So on this slide, you need to take note of these to be aware and learn. Furthermore, on the next slide, you will also see and learn more about the important skills of aspiring entrepreneurs. Actually, there's a lot. However, these are the important ones that we need to tackle today. And first, we have creativity, which is the most fundamental and perhaps one of the hardest to teach quality in a prospective entrepreneurship. We also have vision. Better develop your ideas, have a clear notion of what you want to achieve and why. Next is the collaboration and teamwork. These are important since it can be difficult to succeed in your own. And of course, marketing, where you'll need to promote your company and yourself to attract investors and other resources necessary for business growth. So you see some skills that one needs to have in order to be a successful entrepreneur and persuade others to follow them. Since they must handle at once, entrepreneurs must be multitaskers. Therefore, having a variety of skills such as discipline, ethics, and capacity for effective communication is useful. These abilities help them expand their business and obtain the respect and trust of others. So that would be all for today, and thank you for listening.
That was an outstanding presentation, Ms. Tulod. Thank you. Let us now go through the summaries for each presentation that will be given by our final speaker, Ms. Precious Ann Tabay.
All right, I hope everyone was enlightened with our webinar today. Let's take a look at the highlights of our discussion. So first up, why is the digital skills important? The utilization of online classes in the pandemic is proof of a very serious gap in the digital realm and its impact on marginalized youth and students with special needs. But we learned that there are some applications, websites, and technology that can help. Most importantly, it is improving and developing the necessary skills that disadvantaged youth and children need to learn to help them assimilate into the digital realm. Moving on to social emotional development, which represents a specific domain of child development. It includes child experiences, expression, and management of emotions, and the ability to establish positive and rewarding relationship with others. It encompasses both intro and interpersonal process. It is concerned with how people control their emotions, view themselves, and interact with others according to the Big Five: open-mindedness, task performance, emotional regulation, engaging with others, and collaboration. If one can manage their social and emotional state, they can conduct themselves well to others and deal with anything clear-headed. Managing and enhancing your social and emotional skills will help marginalized youth and children adjust and respond to any changes and successfully navigate their life, whether in school, the community, or on your own home. Moving on, let's proceed to the next slide. Becoming more entrepreneurial for your career or your own venture requires skills and knowledge that can be learned and developed. The ability to control one's fate, make the most of one's skills, and feel inspired to forge one's own future are all the reasons why entrepreneurship is so crucial in today's brand new, rapidly evolving world. Actually, for both organizations and for people looking to carve out their own professional paths, entrepreneurship and the skills connected with it are crucial, because putting an idea into an action is all entrepreneurship is about. This is true because entrepreneurial and work-life skills prepare learners for future requirements once they enter the labor market. Improving joint development between companies and schools and educational institutions lies at the core of this issue. Future working life skills, which are learned through practical entrepreneurial experiences. Among these skills are having vision, generating fresh concepts, and improving the related procedures, using your unique abilities and skills, preparing to take calculated risks to achieve a goal. And as a whole, entrepreneurship education entails understanding oneself, one's interests and ambitions, motivations. Now, the ability to build one's future through learning with the necessary skills for joining the real working world and managing the direction in which your profession would go it also enhances thinking, communication, and problem-solving skills, as well as comprehension of what you truly want in life, where you would go, and what you will do to get there. So that's it for the summary.
Okay, thank you for viewing and listening to this session, as well as to all of our presenters for today. If you have further questions for the presenters, you can submit them via the Google form. And I would like to encourage everyone to open their cams for a photo op. Okay. 1, 2, 3, smile everyone. Again, thank you everyone for your participation. This is your session moderator, Naomi Bell Ibanez, signing off.
Grace and peace, everyone. Thank you so much for attending this webinar with the topic on the globalization and internalization of education, focusing on the issues regarding the skills development and needs of disadvantaged children and youth in rapidly evolving societies. I would like to appreciate the effort and time of our speakers, Ms. Castañares, Ms. Villaflor, Ms. Tulod, and Ms. Tabay, for imparting their knowledge of today's topic. And to our audience, once again, thank you so much, and we are hoping that you have enjoyed and learned a lot of things in our webinar. Please be informed that we have also attached a workshop activity in the description box below, or just scan the QR code in the last page of our presentation. Indeed, we've got a lot of thoughts and learnings about our topic. I hope that this webinar is not just a transfer of ideas heard and stored in mind, but those learnings must be input into action with dedication and passion for our future students. Once again, this is your MC, Charlene O. SENIEDO. Thank you, everyone, and have a great day. The next slide would be the people behind this program.